So I, a 25-year-old female, went out for dinner for my sister-in-law's bachelorette party this past weekend. Between my sister-in-law, who is 28 years old, and my husband, who is 26, my sister-in-law has always been the family's golden child. Growing up, my in-laws coddled her and gave her everything she wanted, while my husband always got the short end of the stick. She was always the popular girl in school, a cheerleader, and had lots of friends. All the boys loved her, while my husband was always a little nerdy and got picked on quite a bit. Even my in-laws would give him a hard time about this and say he needed to be more like his sister. Fast forward to today, both my husband and I went to top schools, got our degrees, and currently have very well-paying jobs in tech. I'm not trying to sound boastful, this is just for context, but we live a very comfortable life. My sister-in-law still lives at home with my in-laws who foot all of her bills. She has a preschool-aged niece with her ex and is currently engaged. This past weekend, I was invited to a fancy, upscale restaurant in my city for my sister-in-law's bachelorette party. She just wanted to have a nice dinner. There were 8 of us in total. At the end of the dinner, the bill comes out, and the waiter hands it to me. I'm sitting there confused for a second, until my sister-in-law speaks up and says, "My parents and I were talking, and we're thinking you and my brother can handle this bill as a wedding gift, since you're not financially contributing to my wedding." I stared at her, shocked for a moment, and then said, "You didn't think to bring this up to me beforehand?" She started saying, "We're so well off, so what's the big deal?" And she's sure her brother wouldn't have an issue with it. I asked her why her fiancé didn't foot the bill or my in-laws, and where in her right mind she thinks it's okay to spring this on me. She started going on about how we're the wealthiest in her and her fiancé's family, and that she didn't think I would react like this and say yes. I told her, "Well, sorry, I'm not your parents. Don't expect handouts from me." She called me selfish, and I called her an entitled brat, paid for my half of the bill, and left. As expected, my mother-in-law, sister-in-law, and even some of the cousins and aunts on my husband's side have been absolutely furious with me and are expecting me to apologize for my comments. I told them over my dead body. My husband is 100% on my side and we're debating not attending the wedding. I was talking to my mom, and she thinks I took it too far with the comments and should just apologize to keep the peace. Am I the idiot? Info, the bill was close to $1,000 US. What the actual heck? Because you're not contributing to my wedding? In what world does a sibling's wife contribute to a wedding? She sounds insanely entitled, and anyone backing her is delusional. You're not the idiot. Her springing that on you at the end is unconscionable. It would be one thing, still questionable, if they had approached you privately beforehand to see if you would throw a dinner for them. It's another thing entirely to surprise you at the end of dinner and expect you to pay for her and 6 of her friends. Even more, she did it publicly. My guess is she wanted to rely on you acquiescing to social pressure to do it without a fuss. Also, she expects a contribution from you for her wedding. If you were her parent, that's one thing. But as a future sister-in-law, that is so wildly entitled on her part and on the part of the family backing her. Absolutely. I guarantee you were only invited as a setup to try and make you pay. Don't go to the wedding. And I would honestly consider how much contact you want to maintain with your sister-in-law and your in-laws moving forward. It's clear they see you two as nothing but an ATM. I would have gone with, "Well, it's nice that you decided that without telling anyone, but I didn't bring my credit cards with me." And then I would leave. Not to mention, it's a second wedding. Second weddings typically aren't the big frilly to-do that the first weddings are, because second weddings mean, been there, done that, return the t-shirt. Also, a lot of second weddings are funded by the couple because they're smaller weddings. This expectation of a handout just blows my mind. Wow, some people. I'm a 21-year-old male who went to eat with some college friends at a restaurant near the campus. This place is not the nicest, but it's better food than McDonald's, and we used to go there when we wanted to have a semi-special occasion. This time, the occasion was that the 4 of us had passed our exams. It was lunchtime and the place wasn't completely full, but full enough. We had bad weather, so we sat inside. Everyone did. Most people were adults. Then 2 women, an older and a middle-aged one, came in with a baby and a kid around 7 to 10 years old. I was sitting facing the door, so I saw them walk in, but I didn't think anything of it. I'm not someone who is easily annoyed by kids most of the time. They took a table in the corner. Our table was around the middle of the room. We were waiting for our food and chatting. The kid was playing with the baby and they were making a bit of noise. Then again, we were all making noise as most of us were accompanied and chatting. After our food came in, though, the kid started to wander around. First, he wanted to read a sign near the door, then one near the back. After that, he wanted to go to the bathroom, then he wanted to go outside, etc. It was kind of annoying, but quite easy to just ignore. Neither of the women that were with him did anything to stop him. Not at any time. At some point, the kid started to run around while yelling. He was playing something by himself. He went on, and neither of the women did anything. Other people were looking annoyed too. He even accidentally hit my friend's chair. As we were in the middle table, he started running circles around us. By the 3rd time he tried passing next to me, I put my arm out to stop him. I told him to stop that and sit down, and waited until he was at home to run around because it's inappropriate to bother other people in a public space. I also told him I would have him wait outside alone if he didn't behave, which I obviously wasn't going to do because I can't. It was just to scare him off. I honestly don't know how it came out. In my mind, I was quite calm, but apparently I was screaming at the kid. The kid started to cry, and then I assume his mom came in and told me off for yelling at him and how he's just a kid and was playing and such. I told her I wouldn't have had to do anything if she had told the kid to stay quiet before. Some guy from the staff came in and asked what had happened. She told him I had yelled at the kid. I told him that yes, I did, but calmly explained why I did it. He said that we should just let this go for once, and that next time, the staff would manage the situation before anything happened. The woman was fuming, so they left. My friends told me that I did in fact scream at this kid, but they were annoyed too and said that they were about to complain to management about the kid. I honestly think that would have been the best idea, and now I think I took the wrong turn here. Your friends told you that you are screaming at a young child, and you still don't know if you were an idiot? You threatened him with being left outside all alone until he cried, and you still don't know if you were an idiot? Unbelievably, dude, you are the idiot. Just complain to the waitstaff and have them deal with it next time. That's not how this works at all. The mom was an idiot first because she let her child run around a restaurant annoying other people. The mom was negligent, making her an idiot. Not excusing OP, but you're implying that the mother's not wrong. Definitely everyone's the idiot in this situation. And I have to say, kids are little idiots. It's a parent's job to make sure their little idiot learns how to not be a full-grown idiot. Anyone who disagrees or says you can't call a kid an idiot is the one whose kid grows up to be the mother in this situation. Nope, the kid's mom was negligent, but OP took it out on her child. Not her. That takes it straight into, you are the idiot territory for me. He had a horrible reaction, and he took it out on a child who apparently hadn't been taught better yet, instead of the adult responsible for him. OP, by your friend's admission, you overstepped your bounds in a big way. Learn to control your behavior before you presume to dictate the same to a child. My older brother is getting married in 2 months. His fiance's family is paying for the whole wedding, and they'll have it in the Bahamas. They planned a small wedding of 60 guests. The only person from our family he invited was our mom. This was obviously a little upsetting for my siblings and me, but we understood. We have a large family. My mom has 7 kids and 8 siblings. You can't have a small wedding if you invite your large family, and it becomes more complicated when you start picking and choosing who can come. So there are no hard feelings with him, just deciding to have our mom there. The problem is, my mom doesn't want to go alone for a few reasons. She's never flown before or left the country. She's very nervous about this aspect alone. She will also not know anybody at the wedding other than my brother. She's met his fiance's parents and siblings, but it was awkward and there's not a great relationship there. Her family is very wealthy, while our family is not. As a result, there's a large cultural difference. And my brother's future mother-in-law said a few things that upset my mom, although I don't think she meant any harm. Because of all this, my mom asked my brother if she could bring her partner of 5 years. My brother denied this. My mom assumed he had an issue with her bringing her partner specifically, and then later asked if she could bring her sister to stay in her room, not even to the wedding or reception, but to the hotel, so she wouldn't have to travel alone and would have someone to stay with her, as she would be in the country for 5 days. She said she'd find a way to cover the extra cost. He again denied her. At this point, I'm angry because my mom is upset about the whole thing. She was upset originally about none of our family being invited to the wedding. She's now even more upset as she's actually scared about traveling and staying in another country alone. I want to confront my brother about this, but my mom has told me not to. Nobody is asking him to invite anyone else to the wedding. I just want him to allow my mom to have a +1, so she won't be all alone for a week. My uncle has already said that if he doesn't allow her a guest, he'll fly down there with her and find a cheap hotel for the week. I respect that it's my brother's wedding and I shouldn't interfere, but I think he's being unfair to our mom and refusing to listen to her fears about going alone. Am I the one in the wrong if I bring it up again and try to pressure him into allowing her to bring my aunt? Edit. My mom is trying to get his permission to bring someone to the hotel because all the food, etc. are included and the bride's family is paying. She would have to organize paying him back. They are hosting a wedding and only inviting the groom's mom, but not giving her a +1 and expecting to be paid back for the cost of food if the +1 attends. How hard is that to do? Do they not accept cash checks, PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App? There is definitely something else going on here. There are 60 guests, but only one from the groom's side? Come on, you can't be that blind. Out of the entire guest list, the only person from your brother's side of the family is your mom? I just want to be clear that I am reading this correctly. And your brother is so adamant about no one else even helping his own mother. It sounds like he is trying to cut you all out of his life, or his bride is trying to cut you out of his life. This is not your brother's marriage. This is his wife's fancy wedding. Exactly this. There is certainly something going on here. This sounds like something other than a positive start to married life. I would ask your brother how he feels about only being allowed to have his mom present, and if he is happy about this. I am not telling him off, but I think you should be concerned about this. The wedding is in the Bahamas, and the OP clearly stated that they are not well off. They do not want to invite any of these peasants, would be my guess. They just invited mom to not come off as complete idiots and failed anyway. Understandably, 8 people is a lot, but there is no reason why she cannot have a +1. They invited 60 people from their own side. OP, stay out of it, except to encourage mom to be comfortable saying no, this won't work for me. The brother and his new family sound like total idiots. My husband used to get along with my family until my sister falsely accused him of cheating on me. He understandably does not like her anymore, but he is usually civil towards her. My sister recently announced her engagement, and while everybody congratulated her, my husband turned to her fiancé and said, "Good luck, you'll need it marrying her." I was shocked he would say something like that, especially in front of my parents, but I never said anything, as I did not want to fight with him in front of everybody. However, my sister kept giving me a look like she expected me to say something, and when I did not, she yelled at him herself. I made us leave because I could see us being. There was not helping the situation. My sister has been texting me about what happened, mostly to take digs at my husband. She gets angry whenever I ask her to stop and thinks I am siding with him when he is wrong. Things have worsened after I told her that I would not be going wedding dress shopping with her, and she is blaming my husband for that too. She sent him some messages directly, and he fanned the flames by saying he wouldn't let me go, and she'd be lucky if we even attended the wedding. I've spoken to my husband and asked him to stop making things worse. He has agreed to stop responding to her, But she wants me to make him apologize and agree to visit when she wants to go wedding dress shopping to prove that I'm not siding with him. Which I can't do. Am I the idiot? Edit about her accusing him. My sister was staying with us for a while, and she thought it was weird that my husband wasn't home that often, and that he was always on his phone or laptop. So she was convinced he was cheating. I told her repeatedly that he wasn't and that he was working, but she wouldn't let it go. She tried to prove it by taking pictures of him with his female friend, but I told her they didn't prove anything. She thought I was in denial, so she sent them to our family because she thought they would talk some sense into me, but it has only caused unnecessary drama. She has never apologized to him directly. Wow, she made a concerted effort to turn your entire family against him because he was out of the house and on his phone and computer? Her fiancé ought to be forewarned specifically of that behavior, not just vaguely in a potentially humorous context. I've seen such false accusations tear a marriage apart, so it's great that you have proper trust in your husband over your drama-seeking sister. I think your husband is a bit of an idiot for behaving in a way that leads to headaches for you, but what's described here isn't some overblown revenge on his part. Here's the key. She tried to prove it. This means she purposefully sought to catch your husband in the act of infidelity and waited to take a picture, right? Any one of us could kiss a friend on the cheek, but by the time someone else could think to get their phone out, the moment would be over. So your sister actively went looking for something to prove her case, which means she had to follow him somehow. That's just creepy. This is toxic. Your husband should never have to be in the same room with her again. Even if she were to apologize, her actions can never be undone, and the damage to his reputation is irrevocable. Whether or not you decide to participate in the wedding is up to you, but if someone did that to my husband, I would cut them off. I am loyal that way. Yeah, she falsely accused him of cheating and now she wants an apology? I agree with him. Good luck to her fiancé. Unfortunately, he is marrying a two-faced liar. Honestly, I think it's incredibly rude to your husband that you still associate with your sister at all. My wife and I, along with another couple, play sand volleyball. Often we play sand volleyball a few times a month. Today, we went to the local public court and saw a man and his German Shepherd playing in the sand. It was clear that we were there to use the court, but the man was not moving. I approached him and asked if we could play on the field next to the court. He refused, stating that his dog had hip issues and the sand was better for him to move around on. I expressed my frustration, stating that the court was designated for sand volleyball, not for dogs to play and relieve themselves in. I asked him to please move, but he became annoyed and we argued for a bit before he eventually left. I do not believe I was in the wrong, but he accused me of hurting his dog. However, it is a public court that anyone can use and I could have been more patient. It is a volleyball court with sand and a net in the middle, specifically designated for playing barefoot. The expectation is that people will not be diving or allowing their dogs to urinate and defecate on the court. I understand the concern for his dog's hips, but that does not give him the right to monopolize the court. Was the German Shepherd playing volleyball? I highly doubt it, as this is a dedicated beach volleyball court. The man was inconsiderate for bringing his dog there, and should have found a dog park with sand or used a beach area that is not explicitly designated for a particular purpose. This behavior is entitled, thinking that he can prevent others from using the court for its intended purpose. It is unfair that he was on the court not playing volleyball, and yet he was there first and has just as much right to use the space for a reasonable amount of time as I do. I believe it is acceptable for the court to be used by a disabled dog when it is not being used for volleyball. Therefore, his statement about the dog's hips was incorrect. If I had waited 20 minutes, the man and his dog would have likely left. I agree with the man on this point. I am also aware that other animals may have used the court as a sand pit. If there is any wildlife in the area or stray feral cats, they may have used the court as a waste pit at some point. So even without dogs present, players may still encounter feces while playing. It is important to remember that I do not own the court, It is a public park. Therefore, the man is allowed to use the area just as much as I am.